Hello and welcome. Today on BOI Weekly, Chief Executive Officers of Development Finance Institutions in Nigeria under the aegis of the Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI, regroup after a 7-year lull. The purpose of the summit is to reposition the group as well as its members to strategically engage the Nigerian and regional business financing ecosystem and harness critical partnerships in ways that help to support the real sector as well as the larger economy. I'm Kayode Alayande. Stay close. The Association of African Development Finance Institutions, ADFI, is an umbrella organization for development finance institutions in Africa. It was created under the auspices of the African Development Bank, ADB, in 1975. The objectives of ADFI include stimulating cooperation for the promotion and financing of sustainable development in Africa and encouraging the process of economic integration in the African region. ADFI has over 80 member institutions made up of national, regional and multilateral development finance institutions in Africa and from other continents engaged in development finance activities in Africa. As the name suggests, DFIs, development banks or development finance companies, are organizations endorsed or supported by government of a country or state to primarily provide funding or risk capital to development projects in one or more sectors of an economy on a non-commercial basis. Apart from being a strong member of ADFI, Nigeria, the largest economy in Africa, also has its own group of local development finance institutions known as the Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI. Some of the members include the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, Nigerian Export-Import Bank, microfinance banks, state-owned investment companies, and other local DFIs. The Nigerian branch, ANFI, was created with the primary objective of creating a forum for DFIs in Nigeria to discuss and exchange ideas on issues of common interest while providing a platform for members to cooperate in areas of investment, finance and capacity building. The Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI, was inaugurated on October 15, 1982. With 15 foundational members. However, the secretariat went comatose at some point. The group became quiet and has not met in the last 7 years, a development that has created gaps and setback in the Nigerian Development Finance Institution ecosystem. The new leadership of the association, inaugurated last year, is about to change all that.
Are we not setting a precedent?
This is the CEO's meeting of the Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI, the first to be held since 2014. The host, MD CEO, Bank of Industry, Mr. Olukayode, is also the chairman of the association and the current alternate director of the regional body, Association of African Development Finance Institution, ADFI. This summit is to strategize on how the association and its members can regroup, reposition and collaborate, not just internally but also externally, to foster and nurture strategic partnerships both locally, regionally and globally. The goal here is to create a conducive atmosphere for a sustainable real sector development, as ANFI's prosperity is key to the growth of the Nigerian economy. They are also looking to unify on areas of common interest, influence regulatory guidelines and policies, and take advantage of training as well as other capacity building opportunities. In his opening remarks, Mr. Olukayode highlights the economic importance of forming a strong association of DFIs in Nigeria.
What are the benefits of ADFI? 1, we can raise a common voice, of the DFIs to influence CBS circulars and guidelines, particularly as it pertains to our operations. Because most of those circulars they just consider commercial banks. Some of them affect us negatively. We can speak in one voice on matters of common interest. We can encourage mutual assistance and investment cooperation among the DFIs. We can invest in training and development of member organizations. We can jointly carry out studies on issues of national economic growth with a view to promoting development in Nigeria. We can promote cooperation and exchange of experience among member DFIs and between them and similar organizations in other countries. The CBN has been telling us they wanted this thing to take, what is the meeting taking place today? CBN has been talking about it for quite some time. You know, put yourself together, form an association, you know, see how you can help each other, and then come to us as a group to let us know what you want so that we can effectively help you. So I'm happy that this meeting, you know, CBN also is represented to show their commitment to what we are doing here this morning. So what do you want to recommend this morning? Is commencement of full operations. This association has been lying dormant for too long. It is time we come together and we make it work and benefit all members. We need to staff the secretariat. We need to place emphasis on training and how we can assist each other. And then our technical people, they need to be meeting more regularly, while we today can decide how many times we should meet in a year.
As a precursor to this very summit, some of the stakeholders in the association held a virtual technical committee meeting in May 2020, where some of the pertinent issues bedeviling the association were raised. Suggestions mooted and now being presented at this meeting for ratification by the larger group.
UNFI need to have a single voice, just like we have bankers committee on issues that border on DFIs. We do get circulars from CBN, drafts, exposures, asking us for comments. We believe that when we come together, we'll be able to deliberate and present a common voice to CBN. The second one that was brought up is having beneficiary relationship, where we have a staff exchange program before the various, among the various DFIs. We have some of them, participants mentioning that they would like to send some of their staff to Bank of Industry for them to study what we are doing. The third one is training and staff development among us as well, not only when ADFI, the continental body, organizes program, but that's at the national level. We should have training and a staff development program. Then the fourth one is improved feasibility in Africa. It was discussed that Nigeria is not very active in ADFI at the continental level. We have South Africa, who produced the last president of ADFI, and after that, Botswana took over. Nigeria has been very inactive. But today, we have the CEO of Bank of Industry as the alternate director on ADFI.
A noble position, no doubt, but given the sustained number of years the organization has remained comatose, a large portion of its operations has been gravely impacted and needs a strong head start. In order to get the ball rolling again, the Bank of Industry has chosen to lead the way by offering to take care of some of the critical requirements for takeoff, beginning with accommodation on the third floor of its high-rise facility located in the Central Business District, Abuja.
That will be our secretariat, so that we take away the burden of looking for rent, you know, from the association members. So this BOI is donating to ensure that we are stronger. Also, we need to recruit somebody to run that office. That process later on we will discuss. But if we are going to ask all of you to bring the salaries, I also think it will be a burden. So BOI will volunteer to pay salaries for the next 2 years of those. So we need to have the ES, Executive Secretary, the admin assistant, the accountant, head of training. These are very important because many of you are not aware. There are many training programs that are being done at the ATFI level, the African level. So if there's nobody letting you know that training is coming up and they communicate to you on time, you cannot even register for it. So you are missing a lot of things. So somebody has to be there to ensure that you get this information, and also we can do local training also. Some of the DFIs we have in Nigeria, we have different strengths. You know, we can learn from each other so that we can strengthen what we have in our various states. In terms of the ATFI accounts, the accounts that was handed over to BOI, as of December 31st, 2020, the balance in the first bank account of the association was about 1,024,000 naira. Unfortunately, we could not access this money because of the signatories. Many people over the years, you know, so all of that we need to do, you know. Also, some of the old staff have been owed money. The ES and some of the admin assistants, about 1.98 million. So also to assist the Secretariat take off effectively, BA also donated 10 million naira towards this. And part of the outstanding salaries had been paid by BOI, remaining about 360,000, which we can easily pay from what we have, so that there's some money left in the account.
It's time to discuss the matters arising, and the floor is open as the attendees analyze factors responsible for the failure of yesteryears and proffer possible solutions.
But we have to be very creative in creating certain activities that will have positive impact in the real sector. And once we do that, I believe BOI can be able to support the DFIs in order to stimulate the various growth in the economy.
State-owned investment companies are members of the association, and their positioning is quite strategic. However, they allege that they are almost always left out and largely lack adequate funding and capacity building support.
A lot of the investment companies have problems and they don't know how to resolve it. By collaborating and discussing among them, they find solutions. Most of the chief executives are now discussing among themselves after the conference we held in 2019. I believe some of them have been discussing about issues of mutual interest, although nothing has materialized by now, but I believe they have been discussing. We have been discussing with Kaduna, Jigawa, Katsina, how we can collaborate and come up with some projects that will assist the investment companies. So with this issue of revival of NDP, I believe these discussions will continue. And I believe a lot will be achieved. A lot will be achieved if cooperation is given by the investment companies, because it's not a matter of reviving the association, it's a matter of commitment. Unless members are committed to revive it and benefit from each other, nothing will materialize.
If you look at the 36 states of the Federation, you probably, if you take a census of the surviving state investment companies, there are no longer up to 20, because quite a number of such companies have gone comatose. My neighbor in Nasarawa, I know that they folded up in 2019, and there is no longer a state investment company, although they're trying to promote a new investment promotion agency in Nasarawa State. Ditto for Kogi State, which is also struggling. So what we expect that the federal development finance institutions should be able to do, you know, for us, is to seek the kind of collaboration that will also lift us up, because we need a helping hand.
Further to that, there's also a suggestion about peer review and cross-fertilization of ideas.
So if AMFI can create a platform whereby all this information can be exchanged by the members, what we have been doing, what we are having challenges on, so we don't even need to wait for a conference like this before we get information on what we are doing.
What are we going to put in place for interfacing with CBN?
because the Bankers Committee is a committee of bankers. And here we have banks, investment corporations, and microfinance. So what kind of interface are we going to have with CBN? Because there is a department of other financial institutions in Central Bank, and there's a department for development finance institutions in CBN. Which among these two departments are we going to be supervised by? Who are we going to be relating with going forward more in terms of our activities? The prudential guidelines should actually be looked at, and I hope one of the mandates that you will take is that issue. Lastly is the issue of recapitalization of national development financial institutions. My institution, actually I'm just coming from BP and I'm going back there. We are in technical session about capitalizing the bank, and I'm sure very soon it will be Federal Mortgage Bank and other development financial institutions. I'm not trying to be a doubting Thomas. My challenge is that why did this association went into comatose for about so many years? Why? It is because members were not paying their dues. That is number one. Number two, because there is no clear, defined activity that the association is going to be doing. What role are we supposed to be playing?
So many valid questions raised already as the conversation gains momentum. The MD CEO, Nigerian Export-Import Bank, Nexim, re-emphasizes the association's core mandate.
This association, it speaks about what we expect or what we should be doing with the association. Advocacy, okay, for the development of the real sector in Nigeria. And what I'm hearing is our principals do not or have understated or underrated what the role of every DFI is. Development. Okay? So for me, I expect that in addition to information dissemination within us, collaborations and all, we should not lose sight of what we're here for. Advocacy. Advocacy. We've spoken about the prudential guidelines that is applied to us, that is for commercial banking. We've spoken about all kinds of things. It is because there is an absence of advocacy from us. Okay, and I think that is the most important thing that we need to emphasize going forward.
Having listened to input from members, the chairman of ANFI, Mr. Olukaide Piton, addresses some of the issues raised.
We've had NEFON in Nigeria. We've had NIDB in Nigeria. We've had People's Bank in Nigeria. Why did they die? You know, and we keep on building new ones and looking for new funds. The BOI of today was restructured about 25 years ago. Then, the non-performing loan of BOI was about 94%. So the bank was going to die. For you also, 94%. But eventually, these funds are filtered away. So some of the policies of BOI today was based on a study that was done then to say, look, how do you avoid what happened before from happening? And that is why people say, BOI, why are you taking bank guarantee? Because today, if you are a director of BOI, or whether you are a politician or not, you cannot borrow from BOI if you don't go to another bank to get guarantee. You know? So like you are saying, if you don't ask these questions, then we might keep on repeating the mistakes of the past. You know? So how do we have something in place that we stay beyond the person who is there? All of us have to be part of it. You also spoke about how do we relate to CBN? Because in this association, we have banks, and we have state investment offices, and they're not the same. CBN might not have interest in state development offices, because that is not their job. So it means in this body also, we have to find, it's like we have trade groups. So we know it's development, but some are banks. So banks within this group might have to have a smaller group. And then the state investment companies might have another group. We can have this general meeting, but you have to have technical meetings of those special groups, which means the banks, the DFI who are banks among us, should have another special group that we address issues that pertain to them. And the state investment companies should have another group. And then we can come together to see how we can. It's very important. Otherwise, it will become unwieldy, and what you are trying to pursue is not what they are trying to pursue. You know. The other point you made has to do with advocacy. I agree with you. In BOI, for instance, we've had to do that for the states. We have loans we give out. In some states, the governors have refused to sign COO for about 2 years. And then you now say to a BOI is not giving loan to your people. So now, the MD of BOI actually has to write to the governors. In some cases, I visit to get them. And many of them now, what they have done, they have now created a special department that when it comes to BOI loans, those three of us get signed quickly. That can happen to all of us here. To say, look, Mr. Governor, you are, in fact, in some states, because governors don't have time, he said deputy governor should be signing, or somebody else. We need to do that advocacy for everything that we are doing. Some of you are saying that you don't even have money, 1 billion, you know. We can say, look, even though we are DFIs, we are banks, we can recommend to the state governors. Each state investment company should have at least 1 billion. But of course, it's not, no governor wants to give you 1 billion that is going to lose. So we also have to let them know the type of structures they must put in place so that the money is not lost. You know, so we have a lot of work to do, but the work has to start now.
After the event, some of the participants bare their minds on the gains of the summit.
What we have gained from this particular meeting is the revival of the association, which is a very critical development institution for Nigeria. And like you pointed out, at the global level, and the African and global level, this association of development finance institutions has been working very well. And Nigeria currently is in need of development. And development finance institutions are critical development partners which the state and private businesses need, to have, synchronized development. And the takeaway from this particular conference is that the association is back, and the type of synergy that is required between state and federal development finance institutions and the Central Bank of Nigeria will be reawakened, and information sharing, there will be collaboration, there will be technical assistance, there will be also opportunity for training of development assist or development finance institutions, going forward.
The association is very key to us. Why? Because on several fronts, the most important of which is advocacy with different stakeholders. Because you see, as development finance institutions, the more we speak with one voice, the better, be it with government or even with our beneficiaries, okay? And sometimes we will be able to influence policy because we're speaking together. But there is also, apart from advocacy, there are other things like information dissemination, training, and so on and so forth. So generally, capacity building for both our customers and even our staff, even us ourselves, okay, an exchange of ideas and so on and so forth. So the more we meet together as an association, the more beneficial it will be for all the members, as well as the organizations that are represented for the betterment of the Nigerian economy, okay, because we all have one objective, that is real sector development, and that will benefit the whole country.
With the Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI, putting a 7-year break behind it and choosing to collaborate to support local businesses, MSMEs in Nigeria are in for a good time, whether at the national, state, or local levels. The Bank of Industry is a key stakeholder of ANTFI, and you can begin your search for business support from there. Simply reach out to the Bank of Industry by visiting their website at boi.ng or call at any of their branches closest to you. That will be our package for today on the program. Many thanks for watching. I'm Kayode Alayande. Bye now.